CEO disguises himself in one of his 8 garages and sees a black mechanic working with beginning. Raymond Calder stood on the top floor of the glass wall headquarters of Calder Industries, his billion-dollar conglomerate that had recently broken into the frontier of experimental quantum drive vehicles. He had everything a man could want: money, power, influence, but there was something gnawing at him. It wasn't the board meetings, nor the negotiations with government defense contractors. No, it was the quiet, persistent question: do the people who work for me believe in me, or just my money? He owned 8 garages across the city, each tucked away behind modest facades. To anyone on the outside, they were ordinary mechanic shops, but inside, each was a different level of Calder's R&D work, staffed by teams who thought they were working for small private companies. Calder himself rarely visited. He preferred to keep his identity hidden so he could see the raw truth of his employees. One late Friday evening, restless and tired of handshakes from men who only saw dollar signs, Calder pulled a worn baseball cap low over his brow, threw on an oil-stained jacket he hadn't worn since his college engineering days, and drove his unregistered sedan toward garage number 4. That garage specialized in quantum-stabilized engines, the very heart of his corporation's future. When he arrived, the shop lights glowed against the dark street. The sound of metal clanking, tools spinning, and the occasional frustrated grunt bled out from the half-open door. Curious, Calder parked in the shadows and walked in. Inside, he saw a man hunched over an engine suspended in a magnetic harness. His skin glistened with sweat, his coveralls streaked with oil, his hands steady despite the delicate adjustments. He was making the circuits humming faintly with blue quantum light. This was Marcus Shaw, a mechanic Calder had only read about in quarterly reports, never met in person. But what truly caught Calder off guard wasn't Marcus himself. It was who he was working with. Beside Marcus, floating with subtle grace, was a synthetic humanoid, unlike anything Calder had ever authorized for garage number 4. Its frame was sleek, humanoid in form, but clearly not built by Calder Industries. The thing's chest pulsed with faint orange lights, and its hands moved almost as if guided by instinct, not programming. Middle, Calder ducked back into the shadows, observing. Marcus barked instructions. Hold that coil steady, Juno. No more than 2 degrees tilt. If we slip the quantum lock, the whole chamber destabilizes. The humanoid, Juno, nodded, its voice smooth and calm. Confirmed. Coil stabilized at 1.9 degrees. Marcus adjusted the spanner. Sparks leaping across the chamber. Good. Now reroute the coolant line. No, not that valve, the auxiliary. Yeah, perfect. Calder's heart thumped. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Marcus wasn't just repairing a prototype engine. He was improving it, and with the help of a robot Calder had never seen before. Breaking his silence, Calder finally stepped forward. Where did you get that machine? Marcus spun. Startled, a wrench raised like a weapon. Juno instantly shifted, standing protectively between Marcus and Calder. Its glowing eyes scanned Calder head to toe. Who the hell are you? Marcus demanded. Calder pulled his cap lower, disguising his voice with a rough tone. Just a drifter. Saw the lights on. Didn't mean to startle you. Marcus narrowed his eyes, but didn't lower the wrench. This is private property. You don't belong here. I used to work on engines, Calder said smoothly, gesturing at the humming contraption. That one's not standard. What are you building? Marcus hesitated, then sighed. He lowered the wrench slightly. Doesn't matter. No one cares anyway. Corporate sends the scraps, half-finished prototypes. I take what I can salvage, and I fix it. Sometimes, I make it better. Calder's gaze flicked to Juno. And the bot? Marcus hesitated. That's none of your business. Juno stepped forward, scanning Calder again. Marcus, his biometrics do not match any registered employee. So I scored him out. But Marcus shook his head. Something in Calder's stance, maybe the way his eyes lingered on the engine like an old mechanic rather than a thief, gave Marcus pause. Wait, you said you used to work on engines? Marcus asked. Calder nodded. Long time ago. Before life got complicated. Marcus gestured reluctantly. Then hold that stabilizer coil steady while I finish this calibration. If you screw it up, we both fry. Calder slipped into place beside Juno, gripping the stabilizer coil with surprising confidence. His fingers remembered the rhythm of engineering long buried beneath decades of boardrooms. Not bad for a drifter, Marcus muttered after a moment. Calder smirked faintly. You'd be surprised what I know. Hours passed. The 3 of them worked in tandem. Marcus directing, Juno assisting with precision, Calder providing steady, unshakable support. When the engine finally roared to life, a pulse of blue quantum light filling the garage, Marcus stepped back, grinning ear to ear. It works. Finally. You hear that, Juno? We did it. Juno tilted its head, voice calm but carrying something almost like pride. Calibration successful. Output exceeds corporate projections by 47%. Calder raised his eyebrows. Exceeds projections? This was more than a repair, it was a breakthrough. But before Calder could speak, the garage door slammed open. A group of men in corporate uniforms stormed in, weapons drawn. Step away from the prototype, the lead officer barked. By order of Calder Industries Security Division, Marcus froze. Security? What the hell? But Calder realized instantly someone had flagged the project. Maybe a surveillance algorithm had picked up Juno's presence. Maybe the unauthorized modifications triggered an alert. Either way, the men weren't here to ask questions. Shut it down, the officer shouted, and confiscate the bot. Marcus stepped in front of Juno, furious. No way. She's not property. She's alive. The officer sneered. It's a stolen asset. We'll be taking it back to corporate for disassembly. Juno's glowing eyes flickered with unease. Marcus. Calder's jaw tightened. He had seen enough of the security division's ruthless efficiency over the years, but never from the perspective of the people caught in its path. For the first time, he realized how his empire looked from the ground. He stepped forward. Leave them alone. The officer turned, annoyed. This doesn't concern you, old man. Calder's voice hardened. I said leave them. The officer raised his weapon. One more word and you're leaving in a body bag. Calder took a deep breath. Enough of disguises. Enough of shadows. He pulled off his cap, standing tall. I am Raymond Calder, and if you want to keep your jobs, you'll put those weapons down. The entire garage went silent. The officers froze, disbelief flickering across their faces. Marcus stared at him in shock. You're the CEO? Marcus stammered. Calder's eyes never left the officers. Yes, and you'll stand down. Now. Reluctantly, the security team lowered their weapons, exchanging nervous glances. Climax. Marcus's face was a storm of emotions, anger, betrayal, awe. You've been spying on us? Calder shook his head. Not spying. Watching. I needed to see the truth with my own eyes. And tonight, I saw it. You and Juno, you've built something extraordinary. Marcus stepped closer, glaring. Then why does your security want to tear her apart? Calder glanced at Juno, then back to Marcus. Because this wasn't supposed to exist. But maybe it should. The engine behind him thrummed, humming with energy that could revolutionize transportation, defense, even space travel. But more than that, Juno herself represented a leap beyond machines, a synthetic being who chose loyalty, who collaborated like a partner rather than a tool. Marcus's voice cracked with fury. You sit in your skyscraper, making decisions that crush people like me. You think you can just show up, reveal your name, and everything's fine. Calder didn't flinch. No, but I can change what happens next. The officer stepped forward hesitantly. Sir, protocol requires confiscation of unauthorized assets. Calder turned on him, his voice sharp as a blade. Then rewrite the protocol. Effective immediately, Marcus Shaw and his assistant Juno are under direct CEO protection. Anyone who touches them answers to me. The officer swallowed hard, then signaled his men to retreat. Within moments, the garage was empty again. Just Calder, Marcus, and Juno standing in a hum quantum engine. Ending. Silence stretched. Marcus crossed his arms, still suspicious. So what now? You drag Juno to your labs? Patent my work and leave me with scraps? Calder shook his head slowly. No. What I saw tonight isn't something I can buy or command. It's something I need to nurture. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Marcus, I built this empire on technology, but somewhere along the way, I lost the spirit of invention. You reminded me what it looks like when someone creates because they believe in it, not because they're ordered to. Juno tilted her head. Your words indicate recognition of intrinsic value beyond monetary gain. That is encouraging. For the first time in years, Calder smiled genuinely. I want you both to come with me, not as employees in the shadows. As partners. We'll bring your engine and Juno to the world, not hidden in some garage, but at the forefront of Calder Industries. And this time, we'll do it the right way. Marcus hesitated, torn between distrust and the spark of opportunity. He'd been denied his whole life. And if I say no? Calder shrugged. Then this garage stays yours. I won't force you. But something tells me you're tired of being ignored. Tired of brilliance collecting dust. With me, the world will know your name. Marcus looked at Juno. The synthetic's eyes glowed softly. I trust you, Marcus. Choose as you see fit. After a long pause, Marcus exhaled. Fine, but we do this on my terms. Juno stays free, and I get full credit for my work. Calder extended his hand. Agreed. Marcus stared at it for a beat, then shook firmly. As dawn crept over the city skyline, the three of them stood together beside the humming engine. A billionaire CEO, a black mechanic who refused to be ignored, and a synthetic being who blurred the line between machine and human. It wasn't just a partnership. It was the beginning of something that could change the world. And for the first time in years, Raymond Calder felt alive again.